Hi again. Welcome back to our series of books called Sitting Under Trees Reading Books. And today we're going to read a classic, The Story of Ferdinand by Munro Leaf, drawings by Robert Lawson. And we're here at Prairie Loft, which was a working farm for a long time with lots and lots of acres and a creek that ran through the farm ground and lots of trees that were either planted or grew on their own. And this gnarly old thing is right next to the creek, and I just scared away a frog that just jumped in about where I'm gonna sit here. And I see all kinds of tracks. Oh, there went another frog just now. Lots of tracks here in the mud. I see raccoon, coyote, turkey, deer. So I figured this was a good place to sit under a tree, and in fact, this book is about sitting under a tree. So let's see what we have to learn from Ferdinand. The Story of Ferdinand. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit just quietly and smell the flowers. Speaking of quietly, can you hear the spring peepers? The frogs are making noise, and I hear a woodpecker too. I understand where Ferdinand is coming from. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. That's not really how corks grow, but these illustrations are great. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here, where I can sit just quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. Pretty smart, huh? As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. See how he grew? They grow fast. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to sit just quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. Those are funny hats. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and pick them. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him, and that is just what this bee did to Ferdinand. Uh-oh. Wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted for joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. Happy men. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. All the lovely ladies. And the funny hats. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderos with long sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. I don't know about this sport. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderilleros were afraid of him, and the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. It's a lot of people. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. Oh, Ferdinand. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the banderilleros were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and sword. Poor guy, sort of. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. He is very happy. I hope you are happy today, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to these frogs in the creek with me and the woodpecker across on the other shoreline. I hope you can hear it. And I hope you take time to sit under a tree and read a book and enjoy your day. Thanks for joining me. See you next time when we sit under a tree and read a book. And be well. Take care. Bye.